I'm live by myself right now. Hello, everyone. What's going on? To waste time until some. I can mute the YouTube. There you go. I'm my own worst enemy this morning. Steve Park from 3 hours ago. How you doing? Good morning. Hello. Chauncey. Joe. Matt. Baggy. James Farley. Rich with his nonsense. All right, Holger, are you new? How long have you been coming around here? Let me know in the comments. Hello. Well, that was easy. That wasted about 3 seconds. How's everyone doing this morning? It's Thursday, right? I'm doing an auction on Saturday, and a little bit later today, I will do a preview video of some of the stuff I have. So, and there's Jim.
Morning.
You are... Oh, the door's just open. So you're waiting for the peacock to come in and eat your face off.
Calvin's out there. I'm going to have to deal with him.
Okay. He's guarding the yard.
He's a sheepdog. He's shepherding the chickens.
Is he afraid of the chickens?
No, he doesn't go near them. He watches from afar. He's afraid of most.
Now, if there was a threatening person coming, he would run in the other direction, right?
He would bark once or twice and then run and hide behind someone and look around them, you know.
What use is that breed then?
A
big giant dog who can't do anything.
No, you could actually, that dog would be good like in a hospital, let people just like pet it, because he would just sit there and let you pet it.
I think that dog would accidentally unplug a machine that would keep someone alive.
Well, what he would do is he would accidentally go boom, boom, and put his big giant paws up on them and rip all the lines out.
Chris,
but in a cute way, in a really cute way.
Hot stampers are a myth. They're not real. They're something made up by a dude to sell records to you. VG records, by the way, not even VG plus.
And Rob has no concept of what the whole thing is.
The hot stampers that I've seen, touched, and smelled look like VG records to me.
And it's so interesting that Rob bases the way records sound by the way they look, which makes sense because it's speakers.
No.
Oh yeah.
If it sounds like someone's standing behind you, crumpling up tinfoil, maybe it's not a hot stamper.
He hasn't heard that though.
Maybe.
Rob, what can I tell you, Rob?
I could tell you that is
Rob,
it more pleasurable
no one ever accused you of knowing what you're doing when it comes to this shit. So why should we start now?
Look, I am the first person to tell you I don't, but I'm being real. When I listen to a record, I'd like to hear the music. I don't want to hear an accompaniment of someone chewing on popcorn.
You know, I kind of agree a little bit with Jim on this one.
Okay,
I know.
Mazzy, think of the top 5 listening experiences you ever had listening to a record.
No,
any of them involved crackly noise?
My point is, I've had same stamper records, exactly the same, but yet they sound different.
No,
so
I'm not doubting that.
What Rob is saying now is I played there's a couple of hot stampers that were kind of dirty. I haven't cleaned, and they were noisy. But
no, they had.
So he listened to those, and that's his excuse for saying, shit. It's all shit. But the thing of it is that I find interesting is this. I just got a record from from Harry. It was a white label promo of Absolutely Free. This record is what, 50, 60 years old. It looks like shit.
60.
I cleaned it on the Human Guru, and then I put it on the Kermis, and then I Human Guru'd it again, and I played that thing, and there's noise. But guess what else there is? The music comes through. It's there, man. You can hear it. But I can see where you might be distracted by some snap, crackle, poppies, and that's why I think you need to go buy those brand new.
I'm okay paying $10 for a snap, crackly pop record, not $250.
Hey, you know what the thing is? You will spend $700 worth of your time looking for a $250 record.
Well, that's like
cool. That's fun.
The Led Zeppelin RL I have was one of Coleman's, and it's a crackly piece of work.
No, so is
but
mine.
When you listen to the music, it's amazing.
No, okay, all right, Mazzy, I'm going to challenge you there because I have one, and it looks like a wino slept with it, but for some reason the music plays over that noise, so I don't hear that noise.
That's what I'm saying.
That makes my point for me.
No,
I agree with you there. I agree with you, but to some people that you can tune out the noise. It's still there.
No, I understand that, but we're talking about someone made this up. Someone made up the hot stamper thing.
Oh God, Rob! That's such a silly thing to say.
So why not just press hot stampers?
Because that shows your idiocy. That'd be like, why don't they just? Here's the thing.
It's funny when I trigger them.
You can't press only hot stampers. That's the whole concept. You might press 1,000 of a matrix number.
Look, record collector news. These are all the same issue. Guaranteed 100%. Every single print job is slightly different.
One of them is better than the other.
Slightly different.
Exactly.
Which one of these is the hot stamper? Which one of these is? It's a mechanical thing, Rob. You got to listen.
Sometimes just a certain record will sound better than one record may sound better than 50 others.
Now,
the same
whether or not
we all can agree on one thing. It's Vinyl Piper's fault that we're in this.
Why do people even get up and watch this shit in the morning? Hey, I want to thank you all for overnight, man. Amy Eskeith, who turned me on to the Whatnot, or who helped me with the Whatnot, she just started her channel for the first time, and I think she has almost 500 subscribers overnight and 2,400 views overnight from her intro video. So that's kind of cool. We need more women in the vinyl community. So we'll see if she continues. I think she has another video planned, her first non-intro video. But so she's going to juggle between that and her Whatnots. So that'll be good. She knows music. So it's not...
Why doesn't she come around to promote it?
I don't think she wants to. I don't even she knows about this. I don't. Yeah, she'll be out there in different things, but
PB Fall gets it.
Yeah, of course. But that shouldn't detract any woman from doing it, you know. But that's always going to be the case. Oh, come on, you know.
Okay, my thought is sort of this. So you guys can be stupid about how I think about hot stampers. I understand the concept of a record sounds better than another record that was pressed around the same time. I get it. But the fact that someone has created an industry based on this, and they're the only ones allowed to deem something like this.
No, you can do it.
You just added that part.
You added that. Anybody can do it.
No. That was always my thought. Hold on.
You can do the work too, Rob. If you did the work.
Oh, hold on. You're turning this around to something else.
Let me give
you
the
best version of that record ever.
Give you the benefit. Let me give you the benefit of my experience and my thought. First of all, I didn't know about hot stampers until this was brought to my attention. My only experience with hot stampers is from a company who coined the phrase and has made an industry of it. My only experience with looking
What's
at
the name
hot
of the
stampers,
company?
I refuse to say their name. Hold on.
Okay.
My only experience seeing a hot stamper from said company is they look like VG records to me. That's it. That's my experience. Okay.
Okay. All right. I could see that. And I don't want to say that
And you know what?
basing what a record sounds like on what it looks like is stupid, because that's goes without saying.
Join my team, Harry, on this issue.
Hot stampers. I knew her once.
You know, Jim's right. Whatever you think of the guy, him and his quote team or whatever, were doing the work. They were buying up and listening to hundreds of copies of a record. And if you buy 100 copies of a record, if you buy 100 copies of a record, one will sound, or 5 will sound better than the other 90.
Mazzy, do you have
That's their
experience?
opinion.
Do you have experience? Do you have experience?
Yeah, of course.
Hold on, guys. There's words coming out of my mouth,
but not really good words.
Mazzy, do you have experience talking and listening to the guy who created that company?
The hot stamper guy?
Have you seen him speak?
Yeah, I've been on live streams with him.
Is it pretty much people's opinion that he's kind of a dick?
You know, yes.
All right. So if you're the person leading the charge on this specific thing and you're a dick, isn't that going to cloud a lot of people's...
Well, okay, you're talking about two different things. Absolutely.
No, I mean,
what I don't like about him is he'll just discount anything Kevin Gray or any new thing. That's where he's full of shit. He just discounts anything new instead of saying, hey, there's some great new stuff and some shitty new stuff. That's my point. There's he shoots himself.
I've talked to him many times.
Yeah, I know.
Is he a dick? Is he a dick?
I would say he's an opinion. I would say he's an opinionated asshole.
Yeah.
Aren't most of us?
Okay, we had a shootout. Dr. Robert and I and Coffee Dave had a shootout. Jim sent us 2 of his hot stampers that Jim has purchased from him or traded. And one of them was better and one of them was not. And I had the same matrix numbers one was a Zappa, one was Pink Floyd Metal, as I recall. And one was good and one was, not so great.
Anyway,
I wouldn't pay $500 or $700 for it, but there are people who have money. It's kind of like having a professional concierge or a shopper to do it for them, and they don't want to go out and try 20 copies to get a good one. And I understand the premise. It's not
for people
like,
some of those probably smelled bad.
I don't know. You're splitting hairs at that point.
Your air thing would have gone off.
I know, but theoretically, by the time you get them from him, they should be cleaned up pretty nicely. Doesn't he clean his records?
Now, speaking of polarizing figures, I got to meet one the other night. Okay,
let's tell the story in full. We've heard it on Rachel's, and we've heard it. Oh my God, look at that! The Paris. That looks like the Camp David Accords.
That's obviously AI generated fake.
No, so we went to Common Wave, which is a hi-fi, a good, nice hi-fi store here in downtown LA. And he was doing a demo there. In fact, last night and tonight, he's doing a demo closer to me, but I worked last night and I worked tonight.
And what is he demoing?
His new releases and stuff. In fact, Common Wave had a bunch of his stuff out for sale, and they did have actually the... a few of the Bob Marley HQURs there too, which I think haven't really come out yet, have they? Or
not the new series? They're about to ship, I think.
Is that they had 2 different ones.
Yeah, well, there's 2 that are coming out soon. There's 2 that are out of print from about 2 years ago.
Who wants a link? What are you talking about, Mike? Who wants a link?
Dave was there.
Michael who? I don't see.
Jazz Mike?
No, I don't know. Mike Jazzbum Mike has access to this. You can send a link. So here's what...
Can I tell the story of how this went down in the beginning?
Well, let's see if
I was talking to Chad.
Let's see if it's Rashomon and our views are different on this subject.
Really quickly, we get there a little early, And I don't know. Next thing I know, I'm like talking to Chad, and Chad is saying things to me as if I don't think he knows who I am. Like he's talking to me about stuff that I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then I realized, I guess it was like 2 issues ago, we did something about one of his records, but I was looking at him like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of it, Chad goes, I know that voice. And he heard Rob talking to someone else. And he immediately, zoop, and he goes, wow, you're a lot taller than I thought. And that was it. That was the shit.
The wax is taller than I thought.
Man.
Hold on. He wasn't mean. He was nice.
I think he's a nice.
We talked. There was a circle of people, but we were talking for about 15 minutes. Then another person came up. I didn't want to manipulate his time. We were there for 2 hours, by the way, people. The event started late. We didn't have a lot of time to stay there. So we were there 2 hours. So understand that. And they were playing Jacob Wentz record on the system there as they were waiting for Chad to get going. So getting back to it.
It sounded great.
I saw Jim talking to Michael. They were across the room from each other. Then I went over and he said to me, yes, you're a lot taller than I thought. But then I talked to 2 of his people were there with him, his PR person and his, I don't even know how to phrase it. It's sort of his legal, the guy who really is in charge of nailing down records that he reissues.
His fixer.
It kind of fixer. And that dude was taller than me. That dude was like 6'8". And so I talked to his PR person for like a half hour. And that guy's a real record collector, loves jazz. And I was telling him places to go in LA. And we exchanged information. Very nice guy. Then I said, there's a record that I think should be reissued. I think I'm in the midst of contemplating maybe trying to do it, but there's a record I showed Chad and he goes, show it to this guy. And they were very interested in this record. It has a good kind of story that I don't know is 100% true. It's a Les Paul record. Les Paul, very quick, kind of retired for 10 years from the late 60s into the mid 70s. And Chet Atkins got him out of retirement. They recorded a couple records. By the way, yeah, Christopher was there with his girlfriend. So he bared witness. Dude, I've never seen a guy so giddy to meet a middle-aged white dude before in my life than Christopher. So he was like in awe of Chad. I'd like to think he was that way when he first met me. So getting back to this record. So Les Paul re-recorded all his hit songs, got a female singer that sounded like Mary Ford, and it's I found it thrifting, really good record. And the sort of lore behind it is they sold it on TV, and I think RCA or whoever sued him, cease and desist, because they said you can't release it, and they pulled the record.
That's a weird question. How could they? It's kind of like Taylor Swift re-recording her song.
You know what? I'm talking here. What do you?
I know, but that's a question to consider as we.
But this is the mid. Understand, this is the mid 70s.
Yeah, I understand.
So this record, they're not on Discogs right now. It didn't go for a ton of money, but this would be a perfect record. This be a perfect Chad record, yeah. I think. So that's all. And they were really interested. So he took down the information.
You know, despite what people think, I respect Chad immensely, and he's done a great thing for vinyl. And I like almost all of his releases. And my criticisms have not even criticisms. My opinions have never been bad about his reissues, his pressings, his things.
Actually, so Common Wave has a stockpile of records. They're a hi-fi store, but they sell records so people can walk out with records to play them. They had 2 of Chad's old, these are from 2010, Blue Note reissue, 45 RPM Blue Note reissues. So I picked up 2 of them. I picked up 2 of them.
I remember going there during COVID, and I was very surprised with some of the stuff they had in the bins, because it was like, it was almost like people hadn't gone through them in a while. But I think it's just that guy likes to put out interesting stuff.
I think the stock he has is slowly dwindling.
That's a good example of that. That record store has been very successful at record store, excuse me, that hi-fi shop has been very successful at getting attention on a hi-fi shop from people that normally wouldn't want to go to a hi-fi shop.
It's in a good location. Like you can park there, which is odd downtown. I mean, it's kind of a, what would you call that area, Jim?
It's like a post-industrial area, right?
Yeah, but that has a name for that area. Isn't there a name for that area?
I used to know it.
Is that near, is
dying.
That must be near work. You know where Rhino and Warner's is now?
No, it's not near there.
No. Because that's like in a semi-industrial.
It sort of leads into East LA, I think.
Okay.
That's
what
what
is the other side of the? It's the other side of the river.
The smart thing for that, I haven't been to that store, but everyone tells me, the other Michael, Val Murray tells me about it. And it's that when you mix in records and things and kind of like, that'd be the perfect kind of place. And I know this sounds pretentious, is to have a little cafe attached to it or something, to have a place for people to go and enjoy.
Wait. So Harry was there with his wife. I met his wife and we left early. So Harry's saying the highlight was the second half of Jazz where the drunk lady wandered in. Did she like scream or something? That would have been awesome to see him filmed.
You know, I can do a reenactment for you if you'd like. Hey, lady, shut the fuck up.
This was kind of, well, this isn't that close to Skid Row.
You know, last night
it's not.
This is a Chad thing from about, what year is this? 2012 or so. 2012. As you know, I'm not a big fan usually of double 45s, but this is an incredible record, just sounding. And this is Acoustic Sounds, early Verve thing, double Illinois Jaquette, and this is one of the best sounding jazz records I have in my collection. And especially when you listen to Harlem Nocturne. I did a clip of it on Instagram last night. It's such a good record.
Yeah, but I have a Japanese pressing of it. And again, it was a well-recorded record.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I would like to have a 33 of this, but I don't know if there is a good one done. This would be a good Verve series to do. But this is incredible. So I admire the records. In fact, this has been in and out of print. I think I bought this at Amoeba in San Francisco, and it was in the used bin. So it was a decent record.
He repressed that recently.
Yeah, I think so. I think right now it's out again. But if you see this, absolutely grab it.
Yeah, no, that is a really. You know what? I have a bunch of Illinois Jaquette people underappreciated. People should buy his stuff.
No, Rich, I'm not selling this one.
Yeah, I want to show a double 45 actually, and I put this on Instagram yesterday, so you might have seen it. Does anyone know this album? I mean, you can't really. This isn't the original cover.
Tilt it a little bit. You had too much.
Actually, the original cover.
Is this Chad related or no?
No.
Okay.
This is American Football. Does anyone know this band?
No.
This was like probably the biggest like Midwest emo record to really blow up over the last 15 years. And I had a copy of this that I played it like a couple weeks ago, and I hated how it sounded. Like it was a record I hadn't played on my turntable in like 5 years. I looked it up. There's a remastered double 45 of this out. I played this yesterday on my Harbets. This sounds unreal. I'm not used to like a 90s rock album sounding so good. And you can buy this on Amazon for like $30 right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, double 45. I mean, it's digital. I think it's digital remastered.
And you could take that cover to the beach to get some sun on your face, reflected.
It's on Polyvinyl Records. Yeah, this thing sounds amazing. Don't sleep on this.
Okay.
And I have a speaker's corner of that Illinois Jaquette.
Oh, I'm sure that sounds good, huh?
That's the hot stamp. That's the hot stamper.
It's a 33 and a third. No, it's a 33 and a third, so you don't have to get up all the time.
That'd be a good album for people to get into jazz who don't have a lot of jazz at Illinois Jaquette.
On record.
It's good. It's accessible. You know, that song Harlem Nocturne, if you don't know, you've heard it because it's like a noir type thing they've used in noir films. The Lounge Lizards covered it on the first album. If you know that album on, was it EG Editions, whatever label? Hey, Michael, did you hear that Rachel got rid of her Hegel? Even her second.
I thought she traded it in, or like it was a swap.
And apparently there's another issue with the DAC, so she went to Name Gear separate.
Oh, okay. Well, with Harbeth, I bet that sounds fine.
By the way, guys, I shot a little video of people there, so here's what it looked like. There's Chad in the background there talking to somebody, but they were playing Jacob's record there. Look
I'd
at
like
those
to meet
speakers.
Chad. I wish he would do a Seattle thing.
So it's a cool space. They do
Yeah.
events like that often. Hold on.
That guy does a great job with that space. It really is nice.
What is that?
We missed
You
the
wouldn't
best
know
part
it
of
from the
evening.
video.
See, Jim, I gotta criticize Jim now after praising Jim and agreeing with Jim all morning so far, or the last
Not what
20
I do.
minutes. You know, let Rob enjoy a party. Don't like take him. I got to go home now. It's too early. I'm an old man. Let him enjoy and stay and
No,
hang out.
I
Rob was
actually am an
just
old.
as-
I am
Rob
an
was
old
just
man.
as into splitting as I was. So
Yeah. No,
Or just-
here was the deal.
and then Rob had to drive home. He's like, "Oh, I'm not. At least I'm not getting home late."
I don't know if
God,
I've got enough electrical power to get me home.
Neither one of us. We're both turning into old ladies. It's sad. It's terrible. Michael, don't let it happen to you.
Hold on. We were
Well,
there.
I'm getting there because I'm going to see Sting tonight.
Huh?
I'm going to see Sting at Red Rocks tonight, so I'm getting there.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got free
Nice.
tickets though. So
Doesn't
Did you know
matter.
that Sting has a TV between his speakers?
Yeah.
Did you
doesn't
see
he
that?
have? He has a pretty nice hi-fi though. I think I remember. Seeing it.
But it's between TVs up.
Yeah,
on the,
well,
But did you see the video of him playing that record or something?
Yeah.
You could tell
yeah.
you could tell that he doesn't really play records. Something
No,
he did.
yeah.
Was like,
Yeah, he was holding it.
Yeah, you can tell he's not really.
I think Sting
there
and
are-
Don Henley should do a duets album.
There are celebrities
favorite
who
is-
are big audiophiles, though. I mean,
You know, it's funny. I've heard things recently. Richard says Sting is an asshole. I always used to think that, and I've heard things totally opposite. Except if you're Stuart Copeland. Apparently, Sting is a
Right.
very generous musician. Now, is he pretentious? Absolutely. Great musician? Absolutely. I think his music, most of his music, has become boring to me after the Police, with some exceptions. I mean, but impeccable artistry. I just get a little, the whole lute thing and everything, and I'm not against lutes, but it just has his air. But I think he's
Mazzy's anti-loop.
he's a pretty nice guy. I've heard.
did
He
someone
did a
make
great job. There's a live Sting and Zappa. They did Murder by Numbers. It's really good. Really
And
good.
if you really
song.
want to get into what Sting's doing now, go get those records he's been doing with what's that Jamaican rapper dude?
Oy.
He's done 2 records with the guy, Shaggy.
That's
He's
Yeah,
done
fortunately-
2 records with Shaggy.
I
looked up
agree
the-
that he's a little. I get bored with his music now, but I respect him immensely.
I looked up the set list though for these shows, and he's not playing any of that crap. He's playing. He's with his trio, so he's playing 50. I would say 50% is Police stuff, and then the other 50% is his 80s stuff.
So the hits.
Yeah.
He's playing the hits. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Like
playing like
Englishman in New
one of
York
his recent
and-
songs. Yeah, he's playing Englishman in New York. He's playing Walking on the Moon. So
Yeah. No,
So
I mean,
we suspected Chad was in town working with like Bernie or
it'll
somebody.
be a great show. He's still got a great voice. His voice isn't gone. Yeah, he's a great.
yeah.
musician.
I looked it up. I looked it up, and it seems like he can still sing great.
Yeah, he can. I mean, he's not that. He's probably mid-70s, so he's not. He's
I
probably,
don't know. I don't know if he's.
He's
70
probably
yet.
3 or 4 years older than me. That's about
You think
it.
so? Let's see how old Sting
Can you
is.
still sing?
I could never sing. He's probably
His songs were
73.
interesting.
I bet you he's 73, 74.
73.
There you go. Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Hey,
I love
I discovered a new artist that I really like that
No,
you guys
wait.
may know or
All
may
right,
not
mute.
know.
Mute Harry.
Why?
Just kidding. I'm in that
Anyway,
kind of-
she was on Jimmy Kimmel last night, and her name, I think, is pronounced Leve. She's from Iceland. She's a prodigy. She plays everything. She plays cello. She plays piano. She plays it all. She was playing when she started at 4 years old. But like I said, she's from Iceland. Her biggest influences are Ella Fitzgerald and Chet Baker. And she actually
Laufey. I've heard of
Laufey.
Yeah.
She is so good.
Yeah, she's I hear about her a lot. She's making waves. I don't think I think I've maybe listened to her music once.
She's a
Like
great
a lot of people
guitarist.
my
She's a
age
great
are into her.
songwriter.
So
And she
she's in
writes
the jazz pop realm of
yeah,
music.
she's only 25, but
Is she
she's
doing
got
like
this,
Nora Jones kind of stuff?
I think
very cute.
she's got more style. She does bossa nova, she does classical.
Did you order her
she does
record?
it all.
Did you?
I'll
Order
tell
her?
you, the most impressive thing I saw on Kimmel, and I think actually was it this calendar year or did it happen in the before the new year? I can't remember, but they had Knocked Loose with Poppy on. Did anyone see that? That was like Knocked Loose on Jimmy Kimmel. I feel like that was got to be someone from Generation Z's like Beatles on Ed Sullivan moment. That was there was a pig squeal on national television.
Her name is actually pronounced Leve, according to Wikipedia.
She is.
And Rob, she lived in Washington, D.C. for a while. She went to Berkeley School of Music, and she lives in L.A. now. So you might run into her.
We have to meet up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if I ever met up with her, I know that it would be the kind of thing where she would not even look at me because obviously my magnetism and everything would get to her if she did.
Well, anyways, Rob, you need to listen to her. You would like her.
I said, Jim's wife goes, "You didn't stay longer," and I go, "I was getting tired of Jim sitting on my shoulder so he could see everything."
Fluffy says my friend is the bassist for her group. Cool.
Yeah, I should.
I went out and bought 2 of her records last night. I bought one on eBay and one on Amazon.
Did you really? That's awesome.
She's that good, I think.
You need to do a video here because hell freezes over. Harry buys new music.
New records.
It seems like most of the stuff that comes out of Iceland that makes it to this continent is usually pretty good.
Mazzy, she's got 2 videos where she does a complete set on KEXP. She's got one from 3 years ago and one from 1 year ago.
I'll search it.
Check out the KEXP ones.
Okay.
Now, Harry, what does your wife think of you cyber stalking this young musician?
She doesn't. She didn't like her. She said, "That's enough. You can turn that off."
Wow.
Anyways, I'm going to put a link here for her KEXP show.
I'll find it.
I've got her up here ready to go. And
actually, what I was impressed with seeing, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I saw on TV was I've never been a big Arcade Fire fan, but I saw their set on SNL, which was
right. I saw that.
I don't like that.
SNL. I thought it sounded good.
Yeah, some of it's good.
I think I lump Arcade Fire with all the bands that are overhyped and
I agree.
They're to me like the National. Every other record they make is great, and I love The Suburbs by Arcade Fire. That's a great record.
I feel like is there a genre of these large bands doing kind of choral pop rock where they're sort of I don't like them. I don't get them. I don't understand the hype.
I had a request from Steve in the comment section to show this isn't 90s, but this is the first thing I thought of when I thought of emotional hardcore. Have Heart, Songs to Scream at the Sun. Great album. Hopefully that satisfies you, Steve. This is really good.
That's a cover that makes you just want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
pretentious core.
You know what?
Steve, tell me names of emotional hardcore bands I should
Polyphonic Spree. Polyphonic Spree and Group Love. I think Polyphonic Spree is good. I think Arcade Fire is not.
Well, they're different. I mean, I like Polyphonic. I like
they have this kind of choral thing about
Annie Clark. St. Vincent was with them for a while before
anthem
she went.
pop rock stuff.
Yeah. Well, Arcade Fire's made some great records. But they made
you have a guy who's 7 foot tall and the lady who looks like she just ate a sour lemon face, and I don't get them. And they're Canadian too.
I throw the Decemberists in that group too. Every other record by the Decemberists is great, and then they make some that's not.
I have one by them. I don't
well,
even remember what it
Train
is.
Wife is my favorite. I just showed that on a video recently.
Who wants to see I have a bunch of jazz records nobody knows about. All right, everyone knows Kamasi Washington, right?
Do you even know about them?
How about Throttle Elevator Music?
I don't
Do you
know
know
that.
these?
He made that record.
Wow, that's a big sticker on the cover. Dr. Robert will be proud of you.
The only
Is that the name of
the
the?
only Kamasi Washington.
These
the
are
only
all Kamasi
record-
Washington throttle
I only have
elevator.
the Epic.
When were these done?
They're excellent records. A little funkier. They're not that big.
Was that before his all solo spiritual stuff?
I don't know if it was before or during the same time. It's just a complete.
Because the last 10 years he's made those series of very small box sets of 2 or 3 records. Those are great.
What's the date on this? 2014. So I
yeah,
think
right after that is when like the box set with the black and white cover came out. What's it called?
Right. But these are excellent, and they came out. They were so cheap in 21, $20, $16 brand new for this record in 2017.
Did you just get into them, or have you been into them for a while?
No, I bought them new in 2017. I got into Kamasi Washington, but I like this stuff better. It's very funky. It really rocks. So it's none of that. It doesn't have any of that.
The thing about the Kamasi records, as wonderful as they are, they're so vast. They're usually 2 or 3 records, and you have to really take your time to get into it. There's a lot. It's like Flying Lotus. You know the Flying Lotus records.
Right.
Yeah, I know I know Flying Lotus. I never got into his albums, but I've listened to bits here.
They're
and there.
good, but again, you have to give yourself time to get into it because they're so vast, and the spiritual mix, and the hip hop mix, and the soul mix, and jazz. They're really good records.
Everyone in the comments.
That's the thing with new music. I don't have the time to get invested in it like I used to when I was young.
What's funny is why I love this stream is I can show 25-year-old records on this stream and people consider it new music. It's great.
Exactly.
Before I go, I gotta go actually hit a bass drum on a football field this morning. But people kept talking about. Yeah, we have a academy graduation next week.
Maybe I'll go do that too.
The people in the comments kept talking about emotional hardcore. So I'll show my favorite emotional hardcore record. It's from the mid 2000s. It's by a band called Hot Cross. It's called Cryonics. This is an awesome record. You can't even, I don't think they even have this on streaming services, but the original vinyl is not super expensive. This is an amazing emotional hardcore record. If you want to kind of understand what the genre is about, listen to this.
Anonymous, that's cruel.
There's a guy who it seems like his choice of social media is TikTok, but he's a middle-aged white dude. His moniker is the real Lulu, and his deal is profiling music that is not available on streaming services and new music. He sort of delves a little bit into what Stephen Schnee does, but he has some, and I've communicated a little bit with him. He's asked me, like, there's a reason he doesn't go full YouTube, which I think would be the perfect venue for him. But go check him out. So I watched him this morning. He talked about this record, Peach and Lee. Is anyone familiar with it?
No.
They were a band that was signed to RCA. They didn't like touring. The label ghosted them. But about 2 years ago, they put out a double album of all the material, all these songs that never got released. And they're like a power pop-ish. That's mainly his deals, power pop. So go check that guy out, the real Lulu. But he's on TikTok mainly.
I don't use TikTok.
Bring Jim Morrison's Lizards. Harry's retired. Complains about no time. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Harry spends most of his time on the toilet. It's hard to listen to new music on the toilet.
Not true. Not true, Rob. Very easy to listen.
Well, maybe you should get together with Harry on the toilet and listen
inspired.
to music.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not expect someone in this comment section to bring up the Blood Brothers. Holy crap. Good on you, Delphina. I love the Blood Brothers.
Boy, Delphina is deep.
No one knows what I'm talking about except like 2 people in the comment section. But
hey, hold on, Chance. I thought the Thursday evening noisy vinyl stream is sponsored by Stool Softener.
You know what, Steve? I will say, if I wasn't lazy and I get up on my ladder, I would have grabbed an American Nightmare record, but I didn't want to have to do that.
Surface noise is the cure for constipation.
Talking about records no one cares about. I got to go.
It's nice to see you, Michael. Come back again.
How many times do you have to clean those surface noise records before they sound good, though?
I don't know. I
If
clean
you
my
use
records
dual
once
soft,
usually.
if you use dual softener, it comes out really well.
Good luck with the bass drum. Is it the big? Is it like a 30-inch bass drum?
Yeah, it's the big one I strap onto my chest. Yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
enjoy your strap on.
Goodbye,
Take
everyone.
care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take
See
care,
you,
Michael.
James,
that-
I do not have any quad tapes because even though I have a 4-channel deck, I don't have a quad system.
But I mean, I have a quad records. I listen to them on my system. They sound
That's
perfectly
different though. I mean, I just
You're not
I
going to
don't
get
have
the
any quad.
effect. Basically, that's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? When you're old and you think there's something behind you, listen to a quad record and you're fine.
Don't do that.
So it was a good evening the other night. It was nice meeting Chad. It was
Did you
uneventful.
invite Chad on your show?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Here's the deal.
He's been on the
all
jazz.
all the geeky middle-aged white guys. Actually, there was a good handful of young people there, and the only women there.
You mean
only
like
women
50?
The only women there were women, but they were brought by their significant others. But
Right.
but I'm not there to manipulate his time. Everyone wanted FaceTime with Chad, and I get it.
Can you put Vinyl Piper's comment up there?
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
I still get email from them saying that I have a cover for one of the Paul Simon releases. And that was like 4 years ago, and I still haven't got it.
you know, the defense. You always read these people complaining in the Hoffman forums about whatever label, whether it's Rhino or Chad or MoFi. There seems to be always a percentage. It could be 10%, 5% of people get fucked up by any company about bad shipping, bad pressings, and they bitch about the whole thing, which is true. And I'm not taken away from that. It really happens, but it happens with everyone. Like all the Rhino stuff, a lot of people, a handful of people got really bad shipping with the Rhino reserves and the Rhino hi-fis, and I don't discard that. But a lot of people never had issues. So, and then a lot of people will write them and they'll answer right away, and some people never get back. There's a whole thing going on with the shipping issues for the CD component of the small faces, since so far it's only been sold directly out of UK from them directly. But some people are having problems at getting it. It hasn't come yet. And so everything has a shipping component fuck up, and customer service. There's not enough people to answer. I agree that these companies, all of them, should have someone that answers people right away, at least says, hey, we're working on it. We know your situation. We'll make it right. That's the problem. I think the communication gets fucked up with a lot of these companies across the board. I mean, like Rob initially had some issues with the Bill Evans box, and, took him a while, but eventually they made it right. And that's when, Chad got heated up about it. And, I understand it, but he has a good company. MoFi needs to put a face out there. We talked about that. They do great stuff.
It's not, hold on. It's not just the time we live in now. You own a record company, especially if you own a smaller record company. You need a social media person. You need a person out there promoting it that's identifiable to your label. It's not even something to think about. You need to have that. And if you don't, you really don't get how the world works now with selling your records. I feel that's.
I'm going to put it out there right now. If anybody would like to volunteer as my media person, contact me.
Hold on. I'd like to audition right now. Okay.
Oh no.
Harry's not available now. He's stuck on the toilet trying to listen to new music.
Mike, I think Rhino has learned, and I don't know this from, for some reason their jazz catalog isn't the forte. The jazz things they picked, like I'm not a fan of Miles Davis 2-2. I have an original copy of it. It's to me a schmaltzy, kind of not a great Miles Davis record, and they put that out. They did the Coltrane Olé, and that didn't even sell as well, and that's excellent. Olé is excellent that they did. I know they have the Atlantic stuff. I just think that's probably, I don't know if they have anyone there that really knows the jazz world to promote it as a separate thing. Maybe they need to do a separate jazz line that's not really Rhino Reserve. I know they have, though. They've done the Coltrane Mono Box over the years. They've done some things, but Yeah.
I have a observation I saw with Chad and another person the other night. Some dude came up to him and he knew the guy. He goes, this is blah, blah, blah. So apparently, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works at Chad's headquarters or place. But apparently this guy was in town from LA and he came to visit, and someone said, "Hey Chad, there's a customer here who likes to talk to you." And they brought him in while Chad was doing an interview with CBS. And the camera, he brought the camera guy out to meet this dude, and he had time for him. So that whole experience, and he remembered the guy, he remembered his name. And to Chad's credit, my experience with Chad is he is a people person. When I saw Chad in his element with people there to listen, I got the sense he was a people person. Before that, I didn't really think he was.
So I'm going to show you a painting up here. Can you see that painting of Miles?
Did you do it when you were recovering from your anal leakage?
No, this has something to do with Chad. So you see my Miles painting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's a painting of Johnny Cash. So Hamill does all these paintings for people. So I wrote, he's my buddy. So I asked him, I said, do a painting of Chad for me. And he did. And I had him send it to Chad. And Chad wrote back and he's got the painting. He goes, I've never had anybody send me something like this before, but it was kind of cool. If I'd have thought of it, I would have had you ask him about it.
Huh.
I'm telling you, Christopher was talking to Chad, and he was kind of giddy with it. Chad, hey, wait, Christopher,
That had me on his shoulders.
Christopher, yes. Did you buy? Christopher had one of the Marley HQURs in his hand. Have you listened to it yet?
I have the first two, and they're excellent. Aside from the box part. Hey, Marcus, confusing. Yeah, I love schmaltzy music. I don't like boring schmaltzy music. There's a difference. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's part of that earlier discussion with Sting. I find Sting's music boring as hell. I think it's technically good. I just like the material.
Well,
but I like schmaltzy with strings. I do like some schmaltzy stuff with strings.
Like
I will say this: when Sting went solo, and he built a band together of jazz musicians,
yeah, Branford,
and Bring on the Night, the concert film and the soundtrack, that is excellent. That really is excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Like, for instance, never mind.
Chad signed me right here.
Listen, Raji. HQUR, UKA, it's all letters. But there you go.
That place Common Wave though. Oh my gosh. They've got the toys there.
I will say this. What's the guy's name? Wes is a good guy. I could see him having.
Who's Wes?
Wes is the owner of Common Wave.
Oh, okay.
And he remembers me. He even said to me, "Oh, it's been a while since you've been here." So he remembers. He's got a good memory. For a guy,
does he sell vinyl?
He does sell some records.
Listen, Harry.
Where have you been, Harry?
Here. It's a
he
hi-fi store.
New vinyl.
No. There's a vinyl place in the store, but it's a hi-fi store. I would have to say, again, I'm not the hi-fi guy, but out of all the hi-fi stores I've ever been in, that is the best laid out looking hi-fi place. And the way there's several sections of the store where you can demo stuff. Every demo I've ever been to at that place has been great. It's a good experience to understand and listen to the equipment. I think that place is good. Now, I've never bought any audio equipment from them. I bought records from them. So
congratulations to Ian on becoming a citizen, but I think you might still be able to be deported.
Oh yeah. We can
what are you a citizen of?
The US.
Well, if he's white, he won't be deported.
Ian suffered enough. He has two dogs that drag him around his yard.
Those poor white people in South Africa.
I know. There's a whole genocide going on over there.
I know it. It's just terrible. Nobody's talking about it.
No.
I wish Hawthorne here had the space to do more kind of events, because they're kind of cut up in small rooms, and they don't have the space. Across in Bellevue is Definitive Audio, but that's one of those more pretentious high end, and they do whole house systems, and they get the people buying $100,000 systems. Not always, but they do a lot of events.
This guy Wes is 40 years younger than the Hawthorne guys. That's the difference.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll
tell you
the
this,
Hawthorne guys are like 40s to 50.
No, the Hawthorne guys fart dust.
No. First of all, the owner, who was old, died a couple years ago. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The guys
Did you
that
have
run
anything
it,
to do with it?
the guys that run it are like 50 below.
So here in LA, Chad tonight, yesterday, and today
40s and 50s.
is in Santa Monica at the audio salon, which is probably deals with guys who have buckets of money, but the space that they're in is really just one room that looks like they have to really configure to demo equipment, and I'm sure they're prepared to do it, but it is not as sexy as Common Wave. And I've seen Common Wave seems to do a lot of in-store events. I saw Henry Franklin there. I went with Jim, and that was excellent. So Common Wave does a really good job of doing events and bringing people in. But the guy, I've met the guy at the audio salon. That guy's very nice. He was very nice. So that's where I met
have a trivia question.
Incident was.
Trivia question. What do Adams and Trump have in common?
Adams, who's Adams?
And ATOMS.
Oh, Adams, not like John
They're
Adams.
made out of
They both make up everything.
Wow.
There's a place that Jim, I think, has a good relationship with in Pasadena, but that store is kind of it doesn't look like a store you could go in and really demo. But I think they have back rooms where they demo stuff, right?
They have a back room where they have super duper duper high end stuff. That's a room where if you got the money, you go, you talk to them, and they'll go set it up in your house and make sure it sounds good in your house. But it's concierge type stuff. That's called Audio Element. They also just opened up down in Carlsbad. I haven't been there. They probably have more showrooms down in Carlsbad, but this guy from Audio Element is one of the top guys in the business. His father was Brooks Burdan, who
Harry, I'm glad you had success with your Chad painting, because I sent Chad a t-shirt, a Mazzy t-shirt. Not It's the Music Stupid, but and I never heard from him. No, thank you. No.
You sent him a Shut the Fuck Up Mazzy?
No, I did not send him that shirt. But after that whole thing, it wasn't an apology, but it was hey, I like your stuff and whatever, da-da-da. It wasn't
so Rob was out walking in a field and he fell down a well. You know why?
Why?
He couldn't see that well.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, God. I have to go to the bathroom now.
Hey, Harry's going to be here in June. There might be an incident where he goes missing.
I bet you I bet you in the peanut gallery there's some fans of Stereolab. Tomorrow their first album in about 15 years comes out. They haven't done an album, Stereolab, that has sort of a electric French pop thing, kind of a groovy, loungy sound. I haven't listened to a new one. The thing is, as much as I love them, every record sounds very similar to each other. But if you get into them, they're actually excellent records. And I saw them live about 2 years ago when they came through Seattle. They're great. But there's a new record coming out tomorrow. So I didn't get copies of it. I'm going to probably buy a copy. You pre-ordered it. Yeah, it comes out, I think, tomorrow, right? Loyola?
What kind of music do they do?
Kind of loungy, electric.
He just spent 3 minutes talking about it.
I did literally just describe it.
You don't pay attention to what he says.
Right.
The singles are very uninspiring.
Can we, you know how for the deaf, sometimes they bring in someone to do this? Can we?
Stereolab can be schmaltzy. Now, the thing about Stereolab,
Saturday Night Live was the best with that. When they would just yell louder, for the hearing impaired.
Stereolab's the kind of music like you can put on for a cocktail party and it's kind of like.
No, hold on, Mazzy. Harry, don't listen right now. Finish, Mazzy.
It can be bossa nova. It could be groovy. It could be electronic. Not avant-garde. There's some female vocals and male vocals. Anyway,
I get no reimbursement for the entertainment I provide here. I just want everyone to know I do this for free for you people.
You would if you started providing entertainment.
Well, hold on. My side of this, Harry, is I have you on here sort of helping the elderly out, giving back.
Anyway, that's coming out tomorrow.
The people that paved the way for young people like me.
Some people may have seen. It's funny because the Rhino Reserves aren't doing the same kind of announcement as the Hi-Fi, and we've known for a month now with the Baby Huey and the Otis Redding and the Meters that are coming out, I guess, in the next month. But they just literally, without an announcement on their website, they're doing a Tim Buckley record, which. It's the third.
And Cars Shake It Up.
Cars Shake It Up. So, which means the Cars Shake It Up won't be a hi-fi, but it's an all analog reserve, if you care or not.
And they announced that they're doing the record store exclusives of the Cars and the television.
So the Rondo Hi-Fi television and Cars, you can buy them again. Unnumbered one copies are coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the Cars one.
Yeah,
because I'm telling you right now, I'm getting the Cars one based on everyone having a fucking hard on about it, saying it's the best sounding version. If I get it and it's not, I'm gonna be angry.
Well, whatever you do, don't buy the MoFi. That one is not good.
The Tim Buckley record is interesting because it's the first one where he kind of went into a folky jazzy thing going.
I've tried to listen to Tim Buckley.
Tim Buckley's an acquired taste. He's his father's son, his son's father, whatever. But
the son was more was he more popular than the dad?
Some of his. Well,
didn't he do a great cover of Hallelujah? That kind of blew his career up.
That's what blew up that album, and he had an angelic voice. His father had a soulful, folky, interesting voice, but it got very jazzy, and that album.
In fact, this is thank you, Angelo. This is an exclusive to this stream. This is Angelo's next album. Is Tim Buckley Sucks?
Yeah, well, I happen to like Tim Buckley, but I agree. Like I was playing this last night. Okay, where's Jim? Jim will appreciate this.
I think he's getting up to relieve himself. So
the connection with just wander once in a while.
The connection with Frank Zappa.
Yeah, I wander around.
Now what
he's on Discreet? Okay. Zappa signed him.
He did 2 or 3 records on Discreet. 73, 74. He died in 75.
He died young. Did he commit?
He died at 28.
Zappa made a few mistakes.
Yeah. These are great records. They're kind of soulful folk music and with a jazzy little thing. He was on we talked the other day. He was on a Monkees episode that they let him play. Was it Dolphins? Not Dolphins is on here. The Fred Neil song, "Songs of the Siren."
The Dolphin is a great song.
Yeah. "Songs of Siren," I think, is the one maybe he might have sang on the Monkees. But he is not an artist.
He drowned in the Mississippi River, right?
His son did.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Around the same age.
There's got to be better places to drown than
wait. So Tim Buckley drowned, but his son killed himself, right?
No, his son drowned.
Okay.
Zappa drank beer.
He died of drugs and alcohol stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm confusing the son with the other guy what was the other guy?
Randy, California?
No, around the same time the son died. Another guy just like him.
The guy from Blind Melon?
No, the solo singer guy who.
No, didn't Randy California drown in Hawaii trying to save his son?
Yes.
Jeff Buckley drowned. Okay, but around the same time, who's the other singer? Elliott Smith. Elliott Smith killed himself.
Well,
but he tried to kill himself a bunch of
to
times,
me,
right?
that's the strangest thing. I mean, we don't want to talk about that kind of stuff here, but stabbing yourself, oh my God.
No, but he tried to kill himself a couple times before that, I think. Elliott Smith. But what isn't that around the same time they both died?
Could be.
I think it was.
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
It's amazing that two people died around the same time.
Speaking of death,
similar,
usually goes in threes.
Type of performers.
They were nothing
similar.
alike. No.
Jeff Buckley and Elliott Smith were similar. They were.
No.
Yes, they were.
No.
If I played each of their songs, they are singer-songwriters.
It's a more intimate, darker, moodier, low-fly thing where.
So Jeff Buckley singing Hallelujah is not that Mazzy?
No, it's not. It's more majestic.
I'm being corrected by the master.
It's loud. It's joyous. It's religious. It's ethereal.
Hosanna.
Hey, oh, hold on, Angelo. Before you drowned in a river, can you take pictures of your feet and sign them for me?
Okay, can we get serious for a minute? I watched Sarah Silverman last night. Lots of death.
I did too. I watched it last night.
Did you watch it? She's a genius, man.
Yeah, she's great.
A genius.
It's all about her father.
Hold on.
Her mother.
Do you understand, Herc, that 2003 is not that far away from the late 90s?
No.
Stop making it look like I'm wrong. When did Buckley die in the 90s?
No, he didn't die in the 90s. Did he die in the 90s?
Oh, hold on. We're going to correct this, and I think Herc's going to feel stupid.
I think he died in the 2000s, right?
Okay.
I didn't even know he died because I didn't get the text.
Hey, everyone. He died in 97. And that was like 100 years away from 2003. Yes.
All right.
Herc, 6 years. That's around the same period of time.
Did you see they found Jim Morrison's head?
Oh, God. Here we go.
Oh, I mean his bust.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Somebody stole it from his grave and it's been recovered. It was stolen years ago. And why was he buried in France? I mean, what the fuck?
Lived in France. He lived in France.
No, he didn't like it there. The other guys in the door said he did not like it.
Well, he died there and whatever. Someone made the decision.
Hey, Harry is a conspiracy theorist of the lamest stuff.
Oh, God.
7 years is almost. Listen, I don't know how you're. Oh, hey, Matthew, I'm trying to hurt.
Delphine is right. Elliott Smith's death, it was weird. It was interesting.
I think Herc lives in a world where it's all dog years.
Anyway, and so a week from tomorrow, there is a new Rhino hi-fi, 2 of them coming out. I guess Westman's doing the unveiling again with Patrick, the Rhino guy.
To me, I don't care what you say. To me, they're the same. They're the same kind of performers.
I don't.
They have a guitar and they whine about shit. Both of them.
Well,
now who's the other guy? Sean. What was his last name?
Sean Phillips?
No, not Phillips.
Sean Penn?
No, it was SHAWN. Sean Mullins. Is he kind of the same kind of guy?
I don't know. Listen, is he the guy who's saying everything's gonna be all right?
Yeah.
He has one song. That guy's still alive, by the way.
I went to see him at the Moore Theater and entered a contest to win an autographed guitar, and I won it.
Where is it?
I sold it. This was like probably 30 years ago, 28 years ago or so.
Sean Mullins guy is active on social media, but he had one song. That's it. He's built a whole life on, and I'm sure that dude makes quite a bit of money from it.
Jeff Buckley had a really perfect sort of pitch voice where Elliott Smith is a darker, it's a interesting voice. It's a whisper. It's a different whole sound completely.
They're 2 singer-songwriters who want.
Yeah, okay. They're 2 singer-songwriters. Okay, I'll give you that. So is Bob Dylan. So is Joni Mitchell.
they kind of look similar, didn't they? They kinda
No,
look-
not at
Yeah.
all.
yes.
Not at all. Jeff looked like his father a lot.
All right. Here, Elliott Smith. Maybe he had straight hair.
He
Right.
was
Mazzy, that guy you just held up there, didn't he die?
wake up hair, yes. Elliott Smith looked more like a young Jeff Tweedy. Or
Okay,
yeah,
that's
he looks like
Elliott
young
Smith.
Jeff Beck.
Yeah,
Jeff
All right.
Beck.
if that is his real name, Smith.
All right. I want a police lineup, and you tell me who committed the crime. They had black hair. They look similar.
Yeah, that's
Come
the
on,
guy.
I'm gonna die on this hill. They're the same person.
You're gonna
as far as-
die on the toilet.
Yeah.
Hey, Ricks, I would love Mr. Heartbreak. That's a great suggestion. I think the audience would like Rob would
Don't go
definitely
there,
snooze
Angelo.
at it.
That's not
Rob would
funny.
snooze at that, but I love Laura.
What snooze at what? I didn't say either Jeff Buckley or Ellie Smith are horrible.
You know, Rhino should do a record store day, Laurie Anderson, Warner Brothers box. That would be good.
No, I don't think anyone wants that.
I have
mean,
the records. I
To
don't need it.
me, I'm not a big Laurie Anderson person, but that movie she did
I'm
and
not
the
either.
soundtrack is quintessential her. Just
Yeah,
if
that's
you
great.
want something of her, get that.
Are you
Well-
an Amy Mann fan?
I am. I
I
pre-ordered.
like Amy Mann.
I pre-ordered the one that's being issued. I forgot which.
I
it is.
saw her years ago when was it Marigold that she did a song in?
Oh, yeah.
I saw her on that tour. It's
I
pretty
saw a
good.
couple, she used to do a Christmas show for a few days at Bimbo's 365 Club in North Beach.
Hold on,
Um,
Mazzy,
I used to
someone's
see that.
correcting you. Ricks, who very rarely has any good comments,
You know,
says there was a box.
the 4LP live, or what about that? What was the 4LP live? That's different. I'm not talking about the 4LP. I know that.
When Amy Mann became solo, she did in the one her version of One.
Yeah.
Good version, by the way.
Yeah.
The 4LP live is called USA. I have that box. That's a good box set. It's different. I still think the first album, obviously Mr. Heartbreak is great. I like later when she went to, was it Nonsuch or Virgin? I guess Nonsuch. Strange Angels is a great record. I think Strange Angels might be the last one that came out on vinyl for a while, I think. But I like that stuff.
I'm telling you right now, you think I've lived on this planet for a very long time. I got heavily into jazz 4 years ago. So that means most of my life I didn't listen to jazz and I listened to a lot of other music. If you're holding me to what I talk about on my social media, you're an idiot. You're a full-fledged moron.
If you got all that jazz knowledge in 4 years, I'm impressed.
Every
Because you know your shit about jazz.
yeah. Every Amy,
Again,
All the jazz bums impress me.
if you want to see someone who knows shit about jazz, it's Notes and Tones. I don't. I'm like this much on jazz. So most of mine, I can talk about a lot of stuff. I have experience with lots of different types of music, but I don't talk about it all the time. So if you're being an idiot about what I think I know, go stick your thumb up your nose.
I'm gonna go back to Amy Mann. I don't think she's ever made a bad album, and I think all her records need to come out on vinyl. They haven't.
When I went to college, she's from Richmond, Virginia, and a lot of people I went to college with knew her in high school.
Did you see this past weekend till Tuesday?
Yeah, there was a great festival. I don't like going to shit like that because it's all day long. But if I went to one, I forget what it was called, but they do lots of festivals on the grounds of the Rose Bowl. And they played there. The Go-Go's played it. New Order played it. I think Nick Cave was there. It was a good thing.
You know, all those Sean.
I have that effect on people.
All those Michael Penn records, you know, her husband, are really good. I think only the first one came out on vinyl, but I have like 5 or 6 in a row CDs he did, and he's got a little Beatle-ish sound to
He had
him.
one hit. What was the one song?
If I Could Be Romeo in Black Jeans.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like
It's
that.
a great song. It's a great song. Still,
No,
what's it
not
called?
okay.
Yeah. Still Ill? No, not Still Ill. Romeo and
Jim,
Juliet.
can you show a Frank? Have you got any Frank
Myth?
Zappa?
Something myth? What is it called?
I'm gonna have to tell you something. I feel like I was violently attacked the other day.
Really?
Jim played Frank Zappa so loud in the car and was air playing every instrument while driving.
No myth.
I feel like I was
No myth. Thank you.
I feel like I have post-traumatic stress disorder from it.
That was
I rode with you, Rob, and don't ever ride with Rob when he misses an exit. That's all I'll say.
I tried to
drive
push you
Rob
out of the
around.
car. Harry has a good grip because he wouldn't go out of the car easily.
I do have a good grip. I'm told. That's what I'm told.
I was driving Rob around and he's like, go here, go there, go here, go there. And I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? Is there like a rape van at the end of this road or something? I mean, I didn't know.
Hey, you know what? Here's when Hey, is that like onion?
What was that? Show that again. I missed it.
That's the Borowitz
Onion?
report. Borowitz report.
Are they like the onion?
Not bored of you.
The Borowitz.
Mez,
Andy
Mez,
Borowitz
send
is
that
the
to
right-
me, will you?
Yeah, he's kind of like the
Send me
Indian.
that.
So wait, Jim might have a lot of good qualities, but
Not
he has coined the phrase "rape fan."
We shouldn't even be saying that on. You're going to get this show banned. But
If it hasn't been banned by now, we're okay.
But there is a look to vans that, you go, oh, okay. I'm sure it happened at some point.
Oakenshield, I pioneer, and I'm a huge, massive fan of Sam Phillips. Martinis and Bikinis had a vinyl release about 10 years ago. So it's on vinyl, but that is a fucking great record. All her records are great. And the non-such stuff she did later, like Fan Dance on Non-Such is great. T-Bone still produced that. And I love Sam Phillips. I mean,
I didn't know Sam Phillips was still alive. I thought he died.
Different Sam Phillips started out as a Christian artist, and then her and T-Bone were both Christian.
Well, that's the kiss of death.
Yeah, but they don't do. She left that kind of like Marty. She's not part of that. For years, she did the scores and the music for the Gilmore Girls TV show, which I never watched, but she worked on that.
You never watched
that?
Gilmore Girls?
No, I know it. I've seen episodes.
Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of all those shows, but the lady who created Gilmore Girls and wrote most of the scripts,
is that Mrs. Maisel? The same
Maisel. She's a genius. I think she's a genius. I tried to watch the new show about ballet, and it's just I feel like it's too pretentious, the subject matter. But her dialogue.
Are you excited about Ballerina in the John Wick world?
No, not at all.
I'll watch it when it streams. But I'll tell you
I'm
this.
a big John Wick fan.
I'll tell you this, Mazzy. Go down a rabbit hole and watch the Gilmore Girls. It really is.
I've heard it's great writing.
The writing is so good and so flows in your ears so well. Because she writes like, what's the famous director from the 40s?
Rick's, first of all, T-Bone and Sam Phillips have been divorced, 15 years, maybe more now, and doesn't produce his albums anymore. Doesn't produce her albums anymore, and they're still great.
Yeah,
but she writes great songs.
And Omnivore reissued her album Mazzy likes, and
I love it.
Here's her best credit ever. She was the
henchman.
The henchman in Die Hard with a Vengeance, the one with Samuel L. Jackson. She's like the henchman. She doesn't utter one word.
Jeremy Irons #2.
Yeah, she doesn't
utter. She doesn't say a word.
Dialogue.
And the great thing is, the director of that movie saw the picture of her on the cover, the back cover of Martinis and Bikinis, that album, and said, "I want that face." And she wasn't an actress, and hired her for that movie. And she just had that kind of Eastern European look that for Jeremy Irons, quote, second. Henchwoman.
Chauncey, this isn't creepy at all.
Chauncey, is there a restraining order now?
The show's not in production anymore.
It's not
it wasn't Harold Hawks. There's another writer director from the 40s who wrote that expert, fast-paced kind of dialogue that she emulates,
like a David Mamet thing.
No, David Mamet It's like chewing rubber dialogue,
Okay.
but excellent dialogue. This is like
Fuck the
lyrical.
shots.
Lyrical dialogue.
Is anybody
always
watching the Perfect Couple?
No.
My wife watched
Nicole
it.
Kidman, and I don't know. I'm into it like 4 episodes, but I'm not sure what I think of it yet.
Anyway, Sam
Wait,
Phillips,
hold on one
she's
second.
all her records are great.
Ricks, the stupid comments you leave and you're 63? Really? Thank you.
Yeah. Sam, yeah.
Hey, listen, don't try and explain your way out of this, Chauncey.
I mean, she writes those songs, so but her and T-Bone were a great combination of production. She's got a little Beatlesque, even that song Strawberry Roads from Martinis has a very Beatlesque feel to it,
Hey, that Knicks game and Pacers game yesterday was one of the best finishes I've ever seen in
Okay,
basketball.
no more sports.
Really?
No.
Unbelievable comeback at the very end.
Yeah, they blew a 16. Other people, most of the comments I saw, they blew a 16-point lead. Okay,
yeah,
Jeff,
with 2
thank you,
minutes to go.
Jeff, it's Preston Sturgis. Preston Sturgis.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. So I don't know if people are in the MoFi train at all. I'm not buying it, but they're shipping now the New York Dolls MoFi. So I'm curious.
So when is Gaucho coming out? That's the last one that needs to be released.
I don't buy those. I don't know.
I've got them all.
Hey,
except for that one.
Brian Port. Here's the deal: if you're knocking the jazz bums, you're no friend of mine. We're here to support. Tell me in other places that are doing that. The whole point of telling you that the other day is you say there's nowhere. But if you think Fremer does groundbreaking interviews with people, no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
To me, if you're into a subject,
hold on. Fremer's the star of every video he does, not the people he interviews.
I think if you're into a subject like that, watch 2 or 3 or 4 interviews. Could you get a different take?
No, he's knocking the jazz. He's knocking.
I understand what he's doing.
With that comment, you're not. Hold on. With that comment, you're knocking the jazz bums. You're not doing anything but doing that.
Well, why do you have to watch only one?
Sorry,
why only Fremer over the bums? Why you watch both and you get?
Well, because I want to put the bums down.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fremer, I promise you, every video I ever saw with Fremer, whether you like him or not, it's a Fremer video. He's the star of the video. He does not make
Same thing with Mike, though. Mike is becoming such a fathead now that he's got his Mike Jazz Bumps. Now that he's got his paid subscriber thing going and everything.
Oh, Substack shit.
Substack. He's a rising star.
You have to. I like Fremer, but you have to like his shtick. He does his comedy shtick no matter who he interviews. Now, nothing wrong with that. That's his style. But if you like that comedy shtick, and sometimes it takes away from the interview, that's fine. I do actually like it, but some people don't like.
I see what you got behind your back. Records, more records.
He does his shtick, and it's fine.
In my case, it was.
I still do that today.
Oh, Playboy.
Hold on. We have to stop everything when Melinda Murphy makes a comment.
Hi, Melinda.
Waiting to Royal Scam, is that what you're talking about?
No, you said Gaucho 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's Royal Scam. I was corrected. Okay. Melinda, I sent you a link for an artist I think you will really like.
Hold on, Brian. Brian, I did not bash Fremer. I strictly said when you watch a Fremer video, he is the star of every video he does. He does not elevate the people that he's interviewing. I promise you that. That is not what the jazz bums do. So, wow, I am not doing the same thing. Not. I didn't say Fremer is short. He chews gums while you talk to him. I didn't bash him.
That's why I love Fremer. We're the same
star. This is the Rob that we know and love.
That's why I love the guy. We are the same height.
Hey, Brian, are you Fremer? The way it throws off is to not have hair, which he has mounds of hair.
So where did this Sarah Silverman stream?
It's
What are you
on
talking
Netflix.
about?
It's on Netflix.
Okay, I want to watch it.
Really
It's
good.
great. I mean,
Hey.
she's always so kind of pleasantly smiley, disgusting, which is great.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's a Fremer where he's hating on her. Actually, you want to hear a good interview? I just listened to the new Mark Moran where he's interviewing Sarah Silverman. She had a huge reveal. She wears hearing aids now. She's losing her hearing.
Wow.
So, and
What?
apparently her new special is how she's grieving where she lost her father and her stepmother at the same time.
8 days apart.
Yeah.
It's-
Wow, that's
she's
tough.
a genius. I don't want to oversell it, but she's fantastic.
You know, you have all these comments about you have to enjoy Fremer's style of shtick. Some people love it and some people don't. I'm fine with it.
Let me ask you a question,
It's
Mazzy.
Jewish shtick.
Am I really wrong on my take that Fremer's
No.
video are about
He
Fremer?
inserts him, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's his style. He's
How
always
is his comedy album? Is it funny?
I haven't heard it. If you like his tours of Munich or the audio shows, every once in a while he always does the shtick joke that goes over the head of the person, the manufacturer who he's interviewing. So he does the shtick stuff. Now, I don't mind that, but that is a style that if you have to enjoy.
Okay.
And some people do.
I have.
I'm fine
There
with
are.
it.
So we went to this yearly Audio Society of LA in Orange County event. It was hosted by Fremer, right?
He was the
MC.
whatever.
It was amazing to me how much we learned about him as he talked about other people. And I have Jim, I have Vinyl Piper and Delphina as witnesses. It's Fremer's world and we live in it. That's really what it is.
But again, I met him twice now, and I actually like his shtick. But but that's his thing. That's a style.
I mean,
I spent
It's
the
like
day.
we all have.
I spent the day driving him around LA.
Pardon me?
I spent a day with Fremer. I've met him at different things and talked and blah blah blah. One day he hopped in my car and we drove around LA and went from record store to record store.
Had you met before? He just saw your car door open.
We had met a few times, and the guy's worse than he's worse than Rob. He's worse than the Waxed.
In terms of what?
In what way?
I wanted to take him to certain record stores and go, "Hey guys, look who I'm bringing into your record store, Michael Fremer. Look at how special I am to be hanging around." You know what I mean? He wouldn't let me drive past the goddamn thrift store. He wanted to go to all these shitty little, well, what's over here? What's over here? And then we finally went into this one store. Well, we went into Gimme Gimme Records, which was great. And then we went into this place. I'm going to not say the name of it. Mono Records. No, not Mono. Mount Analog. And Fremer was videotaping. And the lady who owns the place started bitching Fremer out. You know, what are you doing? Why are you videotaping? Well, this guy said I could. Well, I own the store, not him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Fremer buys $100 worth of shit from the store, and she hands him a credit card thing, and there's no place on the counter. So on top of a stack of CDs, he goes to sign, and she goes, "Don't sign on my product." And Fremer put a video out where he tore her a new tuchus. And I thought it was deservedly so. I have to say, I had been distributing my paper at that record store for a number of years, and I don't think she actually ever looked at me like I was a human being. So whatever. But that kind of a store is worth it because there's no other store like it.
Thank you,
really.
Jim. That was quite the
Hold
story.
on.
We're not Fremer bashing, Brian.
No,
I love Fremer, man.
We like
I
Fremer.
completely
We're just
disagree with
describing
Rob.
his style. We're just describing.
You-
his
I
style.
learned how to fix turntables from watching Fremer videos. I learned how to, I learned a lot from Fremer.
You know, I like when he shows improvises records. He is partially responsible, partially of the Beatles doing the mono box hall analog. He's one of the people that kind of got that happening after the semi debacle of the stereo box, mainly because of Rainbow's pressing problems.
Why are we never going to get a stereo box that's all analog?
Because they don't care. I mean, they got other things to do. They should do it.
What about the blue box, man? What about the blue box?
That's true. That's true.
I'm serious.
And the blue box, you can get the blue box from $500 to $700.
The blue box is my go-to all the time.
Pick up that and the Horzu Measurement Tour in your set.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
All right, Vinyl Piper. I could use some chicken feed because these freaking hens are not laying.
But,
and
not everything Fremer shows is high-end expensive. Yes, he's in that world. And why not? I mean, a lot of the stuff he shows and a lot of these audio people show, I can't afford it. I'm not buying, but I still enjoy watching it. It's like if you're into cars, I like seeing $100,000 Audis or whatever. I'm not buying a $100,000 Audi, but I like watching it and seeing it. So,
can I pose a question to you, Mazzy, or anyone else? When you see Fremer at these shows, does he go on his own dime? No, he's paid to be there.
I think it's a combination. It depends on the show.
Yeah, I mean, he needs the content for his media stuff.
You know,
but I promise you, when Fremer shows up somewhere, he's there. He's getting paid.
That's like studios.
Jazz bums are not being paid.
That's like studios bringing people into movie premieres, bringing reviewers and influence into movie premieres and that kind of stuff. There's always grease on the wheel in promotion and entertainment, whether it's records or movies. You know that, Wax, in the movie business. Promotion.
Hold on. I am not. Let's be straight. Brian came in here to compare Fremer to the Jazz Bums. I said to him, "Have you watched?" I think I'm trying to remember, and I could be corrected, but Brian came in here saying there's nowhere to go to hear about this stuff and jazz. No one talks about it. I go, there's a whole channel, the Jazz Bums. Then he went there, and his comeback is there are no Fremer. So it's like, dude,
well, they don't do what Fremer does. I mean, Fremer's got 70 years of knowledge. The Jazz Bums.
He's a person. He is a personality that it's his terms or no terms.
Yeah,
he's a personality. He's a personality that when you mention a jazz record, he's a personality that had probably a lot of interaction with, and has a lot of stories, personal stories about the behind the scenes shit on anything you can imagine.
Jim, that's what
makes it. That's what turns it into his shows, because if you bring anything up, it's like, well, he just knows. He's been around so long. He's been. His fingers.
I think his jokes are bad, but his stories are good.
As a lady woman person, there weren't a lot of them at this event we went to, and Delphina was there. This is her takeaway from Fremer.
Right, that's his shtick. He tells bad jokes.
Well, but let me ask you.
I can help him if you want help with his jokes.
I read at least if
he's the Harry of that world.
I read the room. Fremer don't read the room.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I don't know if you're referring to Fremer. Fremer has a deep knowledge of a lot of kinds of music and records, and I appreciate that because I like talking about my history with getting these records and music and background, and I do a little of the shtick too. So I do it differently in a different way, but I appreciate the shtick and the personal stories. And I find that there is a segment of viewers of these videos that like to hear the personal stories. Now, I get mocked too. Oh, you're always talking about growing up, and Harry mocks me about riding my bike to every show in Golden Gate Park. And I deserve it. I deserve it. But people like that and remember that shit. And, it's being in the right place at the right time. And Fremer talking about buying his import of Abbey Road at the Boston Commons or New York, wherever, at NYU, wherever he bought it. People like those stories,
But Herc is right. He's a very New York kind of guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's very
New York Jewish. New York Jewish.
What am I, Harry? What am I?
He doesn't
You're
forget a name. Yeah. This guy is like the mini version of Fremer, and that's why I can't stand him.
Oh, hold on.
I met Fremer once, and I said, "What's a good ultrasonic cleaner you recommend?" And right away, he took me right over to Krimis and said, "This is the one you want right here."
Did you
Yeah,
buy the lab coat?
He's paid by Kremis.
Shut up, Rob.
Probably, yeah.
He can't stand
Hey.
Kermis, but he had to admit that Kermis does a good job.
Well, okay, here's the deal.
It's too labor intensive, though.
This goes back to the Dr. Robert nonsense with the audio desk. I've talked with Kermis several times. He's a people person. He's good at interacting, but the process
Snake
to
oil.
clean a record with his thing is very in thing. You want it.
You would only want to do it on a record that you gave a shit about.
Well, I will tell you this. So, speaking of Common Wave, about 2 years ago, Common Wave did a clear out their warehouse sale where they had tons of records they were getting rid of. And I found a mono original Room for Squares Hank Mobley that I got for $1. And it wasn't in the best shape. And I brought it to him at the Seattle record audio show. And he really did some magic on it. But it was a good 20 minutes of cleaning.
Yeah. Remember this record, Rob?
Yes. So I found this record for Jim. That is an original. It's not an original mono. It's a later mono pressing of that record. And he did it through the Kermis and made it sound better.
We gave it the full Kermis.
But you didn't give it the full Kermis. The full Kermis is like three of those processes. You just did one. You have to do three. The full Kermis.
The Verve white label, absolutely free. I gave the full Kermis.
So if you don't understand the Kermis is a giant ultrasonic machine. It doesn't dry. You put it through the ultrasonic, then you take it out with a magic brush in a solution that you can only get from him, and you rub it in. You rub it into it, and you have to do that. The full Kermis is like 3 or 4 times of doing.
Here's the little brush, and I take the Kermis solution. I put it in here, but he's in the solution business, and it works. I hate to say it, but it freaking works.
He cleaned my Led Zeppelin RL when I was there at the Seattle show.
Did it make a difference?
When it was done, he was able to show me that it was a 5 decibel difference.
Yeah, that's his shtick. That's his.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's 5 decibels louder. Which bottom line is.
Did he improve it, Harry? Did he make it sound better?
Yeah, he did. It did. But wouldn't the Humming Guru improve it? I don't know.
No, not as much.
And then when we went next door and played it on $1 million system, and the guy played the entire album.
Yeah, you were the highlight of that show, Harry.
It was awesome.
I wonder.
We played it in your system, and it sounded awesome.
Yeah.
I want to respond. Someone asked, "What about Steve Carlson?" Just did a review of this Vevor record cleaner for $150. I haven't watched the video. But that company, for the last 6 months, like every week, I get an invitation to get one of those to review, and I just kind of ignore it. I'm not interested in reviewing another.
Is it ultrasonic? Is it an ultrasonic?
I don't know, but it's a $150 machine. Vevor does a lot of shit. They're, I think, one of these.
You need to get Dr. Robert to do a video.
Yeah, they're one of these Asian companies that, like all of them, not all of them, but most of them. I get these things like every day to we'll send you this, or you buy this through Amazon, and we'll give you and most of the stuff's crap, and some of it's way off brand. Like I get stuff where.
So wait. Okay, I had this. Vevor makes ultrasonic machines to clean jewelry or metal products or medical supplies, and people have made devices that you can put the record on in it. The problem with that, the problem with the Vevor, which is a perfectly good, actually, you could buy it for less than 150. But the problem with that is you're putting so much distilled water in there.
Takes a gallon.
If Vevor made a shallow base, then it would be excellent. But when I moved, oh God, what would Dude, get a life. I have to do this. Sorry, guys. This has to be done. Fuck off. Okay.
Yeah.
But the problem with the Vavar, if they made a machine that somehow you could put a shallow bass in, then it'd be perfectly fine.
Can I go back to the Kermis real quick?
Okay.
I think if you had any decent ultrasonic machine and this fluid and a brush, you could give it the Kermis. It's the fluid and the brushing.
It's all the labor that you do that does it.
Yeah. And then you put it and you do it again, and then you do it as many times as you want.
I want something I can put a record in, turn it on, walk away, come back.
This is not that.
And that's exactly what the Humming Guru it allows. You know,
Humming Guru is perfect for that.
Dave Pounds, there's a lot of these companies. This is the thing. We go back to all the people that bullshit or are pissed off about people getting free shit and getting these companies, whether it's record companies or manufacturers, realize YouTubers, and it's not just in the record thing. Think of any kind of YouTube presentation that has a lot of eyeballs. It's a way to get out there for basically free. They give you a free product. Now they're not paying you, but however, I get things. I just got another company upping this. So we'll give you $1,133 if you do a dedicated 5-minute, 10-minute video on, I forgot what it was. And it was
so do it, man.
No, because I turn things like that down because it has nothing to do with music or my channel. I forgot what it was now. Sure, I'd like to love
that. I'll sell my ass.
Hold on. It was one of those. So Mazzy got off.
It's not a manscaping.
Mazzy got offered one of those electrode weight belts that vibrate to help you lose weight, and he wouldn't support it.
I've gotten things like an invitation for gaming chairs. And
what about those weights that vibrate and you just hold?
I don't get
and lose weight.
Hold on, Mazzy. I swear to God, can everyone just chime in? I would love to see a video where Mazzy just talk about all these shitty products people want to send them. Send them to you, and just talk about how
I could do a separate series of videos in my channel playlist of all the shitty stuff I get.
Okay. So Raji, I want to tell you about my journey into cleaning records. And here it is. So to Steve Carlson's credit, I saw the vinyl vac, and I think Steve Carlson had one and did a video about it. So I had a Bissell spot cleaner machine that sucks back up the water. So I didn't buy the vinyl vac. I went to Amazon and bought a new attachment for my Bissell. I converted it into what the vinyl vac was. I removed the bristles. I put felt on it, and I bought vinyl vac. Actually, on their website has a step-by-step process. I bought a Lazy Susan. I modified it to hold a record and then cover the label. And for a good year, that's how I clean my records. And to Eddie Perez's had a suggestion. Those brushes that people use to buff their nails, I bought that and used that. And for a good year, that's how I clean my records, and it worked awesome. Then I go, this is too labor intensive. And then I moved to the DIY Verver. I bought that off of Amazon for cheap. And for a good year, that's how I clean my records. And it worked great. But the big negative was the amount of distilled water I had to pour in there to clean records. And it would just get dirty quick. There was no way to filter it. And obviously, you have to manually dry the records, put them on a rack. Then when the Humming Guru came in, I went all in. And from then on my original Humming Guru, I've musted clean 3,000 records on there. And it broke, a motor broke on it, cost me $25 with their instructions. I fixed it myself, and it worked perfectly good again. If I'm gonna talk about Humming Guru, other than the product they make, they are the perfect company. They have great customer service. They know how to deal with their customers. They thought the whole thing out perfectly because they created a machine that you can fix yourself. And then when we got our hands on their newest one, vastly improvement. So to get into this hobby and to clean your records in a really great way, the Humming Guru is the way to go. Now, I preface this by another Humming Guru's. I don't know what Jim's doing. The Humming Guru did it on Kickstarter. So another Chinese company tried to get into it.
Yeah.
And they ripped off people. They never
tanked,
delivered the product.
literally tanked.
Yeah.
Bill K, that turntable I sent you was one of those. Is it Angel Horn or one of those that I got free? It's not my thing, but that was the first kind of review thing like I have. And I'm not a gear reviewer guy. I have something I got. Okay, here's something, and I haven't. It's been sitting here for about 6 weeks, and it's really great. I'll put it this way. And Fremer reviewed it. It's great, but it's expensive as hell. And
What
I
is
read
it?
all the. I'll tell you in a second. I read all the reviews that other people who have reviewed it. It's $400 out of Canada. It's that light turntable light. It's a company that made these really beautiful. They did one a few years.
400 for that light?
But it has all these different. It's an amazing piece of design. I mean, it's a design light, and of course, people on the reviews that Fremer even did. Oh, I can get an IKEA light for $29, which is true. But I haven't even opened.
Mazzi's is essentially an LED light.
Yeah, but there's all these different color balance.
I have their light.
There's a remote. Well, they have the new. It's the new version that's a better design. I have that one too.
Mazzy, I have
How much
$1,000.
did you pay for that one, Mazzy?
I didn't pay. I got it last time from me.
You know how much it was?
It's like $200, $300.
No, that retailed for $50.
Oh well, that's not the. I can't see.
Mazzy,
It.
I got these for.
Well, that's
for
my point. That's my
$12 a
point.
piece.
That's
Can
my
I
point.
show everyone? I
And
got
it's
$1,000.
Canadian. It's
Hold on.
Canadian, so it's going to cost more.
I have $1,000 light. I think now this product costs easily under $1,500 light. Can I show it? I'm going to make myself big. This is a turntable light that costs anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500. This device works awesome. So you just push this, and this turntable light comes on.
I understand.
You can look at the records with this.
You know how
light.
much those iPhones cost? That's $1,000. That iPhone.
What are you, Harry? I said it was $1,000 to $1,500.
I know. Why did I get duped, Rich? I didn't get duped on anything. But here's the thing: there are certain pieces. Whether you can buy an IKEA, like for instance, remember these benches? I think they're discontinued in America, unfortunately. IKEA made these. I have 8 of them that I bought way back in the early 2000s, right? And they were something like $30, and you can stack them. I have 8 of them because they're great for side tables for when you have friends over sitting. There's a company that sells these, and these are based on one that's $400, and it's basically the same thing. So there's certain design things that cost more, and there's our people that'll buy high-end stuff like this, and we could joke about it, and I understand that it's not right for everybody. People spend so much, it's kind of like people spend so much money on their records and gear in some cases, and all they want are those IKEA Calyx because they're so cheap, and they're the best.
But they're good.
They're great. They're great. But I wish they would have a back. That's why the ones that I have are discontinued. They don't have, they have backs, they have footers, they have headers. They're just a better looking, another layer, a height.
I want to. This might not be audio related, but I want to give Rick's a shout out. Here's his setup to people that are bedridden to help clean them. Thank you, Rex. The bedridden.
I bought the original Humming Guru.
The bedridden appreciate you.
I think I paid $400 for it when it came out. I bought it. You couldn't get them on Amazon. You had to get them from China. So I bought that.
Amazon.
But I didn't buy it with the adapters. That was more money. But then Elk Boy ended up giving me his adapters for his because he didn't use them. So then I bought the Humming Guru Nova 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago. I took my old Humming Guru, put it on eBay. I got $375 for it, within 2 days.
Nice.
And I only paid $400 because the price went up on them.
Right.
So, I mean, it was a win-win situation. And the Nova, I love the Nova.
Can I ask Mazzy a quickie? Yeah. That lamp, is it from Reliable Corporation?
Yeah, I haven't opened it yet, to be honest with you.
It is from Reliable.
Yeah.
Because that flexible neck one retails for $79.
Yeah. That one,
That one's
okay.
400.
That one was for a different, the guy
No,
who owns
that was. They took full page ads in my paper marketing the $79 one for turntables.
Yeah, okay. But those were not designed for turntables. But the guy that owns the company or runs the company in Canada, they're Canadian. Actually, he's a big hi-fi guy. He watches our channels and big hi-fi guy. And he sent them to everyone, Michael Poetry and Fremer and me.
Hey, I didn't get one.
No, this is pre-pandemic probably. But he reaches out to me once to twice a year, and they come in white and black. The new one has remote. They refined it for a turntable because I even said that big one was too big for my space. It's too bulky. The new one is actually pretty cool looking. Now, absolutely a lot of money, but the way it's designed, I need to pack it out. I need to do a presentation of it. I don't know about a review of it. And of course, whenever I do that, and I'm going to say the price, people are going to bitch all about the price, not about the quality of the thing. And yes, you can always get a cheaper $29 lamp. So you can't compare it to that. And I'm not defending it.
So the price now is $400 for this.
Something like
Light
that.
is light.
I don't.
Yeah, if I'm spending $400 on a lamp, it has to have a potential of me getting laid. Does it have a potential of me getting laid?
I'm not defending. I'm just saying certain.
Only if you turn the light off, Rob.
Okay.
In the dark.
Now you can go to IKEA and get beautiful lamps for $50 to $100, like table lamps and cool looking lamps. But if you know lighting fixtures in these companies, like these Artemide, this is the classic lamp. These are, I don't know, these are probably up there now. I've had these for years, but these kind of lamps you see in all kinds of like office scenarios and home scenarios. And I've had these for 20 years, and probably 20 years ago, these might've been $250, or something. And it's a classic style lamp. People know
a Pixar light.
Well,
what does that have to do with this Uber lamp?
No, but I'm just talking about the design of where these comes from. That company is not normally made things for stereo gear. So getting in that market, the only kind of people are going to get it, the people that get the high-end stereo, those people that put those fucking, what are the little bridges to run their cables on the floor so they don't touch the floor. Those are the people that are going to buy a lamp like that.
That's right.
I'm just saying, if it's an LED light source, I have a couple of these sticks that you can buy for $7 off of Amazon and actually hold it over your vinyl. If that's the source and they just put it in a $400 case thing, that's what I'm curious about, because I can't.
What you have to do is this. This is a battery operated. You charge it right here, and it has to be battery operated because you don't want the RF signals.
I'm going to show you what I have.
Because when you've got the cabling and the RF signals,
that has been addressed.
Light from so I have 30 of these. These were $300 each. So I have $9,000 invested.
This is $7. Are you telling me the light that comes off of this is not as strong than the $400
this one
lamp? I can hold this over the vinyl to look at it and see how fucked up it is.
But this one, this one's more expensive.
Mike, it probably is pre-tariff price.
See, this has a charger right there too, Harry.
I have one for mono and one for stereo.
Yeah, obviously.
But you can also smoke marijuana out of both.
Oral fixation. Right? Maybe you just tuned in. I literally said Fremer reviewed it exactly a couple months ago. He did.
Hey guys, I'm gonna brand these with my name on it. $100.
Hey, what do you think of Jennifer Lopez getting sued for using her own photos or photos of her?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But they're not taken by her.
Yeah, right? I know, but it's her.
But okay, here's not
taken by her.
Okay, technically, the photographer owns the copyright, and she's a famous person. So she's using it. Unlike you and I putting it on, she's using it to promote her image and her brand.
Hey, David.
So she should pay a licensing fee to do that.
The guy that took the shot.
Well, maybe they should pay her to take her photographs.
No, that's not when you're public. You don't. It kind of doesn't.
I know. When you're in public, you have no right to privacy and no expectation
Well,
of privacy.
in that,
Hey,
there's
look,
truth there. Now,
hold on.
those.
Mary
Wait,
uses
let me explain
photos
this.
of me.
Those photographers can't sell those to advertisers to promote a product, but they can sell them for editorial. Like you can send them to the New York Times, to Time Magazine, to Rolling Stone, where that's considered editorial. They're allowed to. That's like paparazzi make all that money. They can sell it like that, but they can't sell it to Coca-Cola and use Jennifer Lopez in an ad for Coke without her permission. You see the difference? Maybe you don't. And so it's kind of fucked up, but I kind of understand it, having been in that business. So,
Hey, and speaking of Earth had a comment here. It was interesting seeing you guys on Rachel's stream the other morning. I could watch it. I couldn't join in, but it was a fun thing to watch.
Yeah. The problem is, if this happens, like you see all these people will do these promotions for whatever movie they're on, and they'll use pictures. Do they have to get licensing pictures of photographers?
Well, actually, Mazzy, in that regard, when they sign on to the movie in their contract, the likeness of their image of the character is what the company owns, whoever made the movie. So if they make merchandise, they make,
of course,
dolls.
But if some photographer is shooting them on the red carpet, can Paramount take the picture and use it in a promotion without paying the photographer? Probably not.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, maybe part of the agreement of inviting them there to participate. It's a press event.
Yeah, I understand that. I told you a couple of years ago, I got 10 grand for my photographer because another photographer copied her work. It did the same setup, the same styling, the same table, the same wall set on the TV show Billions for their Showtime season 4 or 5, whatever it was. That my photographer did is this whole big feature for Fortune or Forbes magazine of these Bay Area tech things, and built this whole set and did it. And I had sent Showtime people a promotional brochure that had that scene in it. And so they did a settlement with us where we allowed them to use, and we got 10 grand for it,
You want to hear something where my wife, before I married her, way back when, she had the rights to Kahlua.com because her cat was named Kahlua.
Wow.
Back then, nobody knew what they were going to be worth. I think she sold the rights to Kahlua for like $100.
Man,
cheap.
Because some friend of hers that was a lawyer said, "Oh, that's you should take it. If they're going to offer you $100, you should take it."
Was it Microsoft that paid some guy who had Altadena or something like that .com paid them like $200,000 for it or something?
I had a friend who had astrology.com, and he sold it, but he sold it for stock, and the stock went down. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question for you. There was a movie that was shot in my office at the LA Weekly over the weekend, and they didn't change anything. They just went in my office and shot a scene from this movie, Echo Park, with Tom Hall. What's his name?
Tim Hulse.
Tim Hulse. So
Amadeus.
can I sue him?
Because it's in your office?
Is your picture in the movie?
They just went into my office.
Well,
and they shot.
Yeah, but hold on.
Can you tell it's your office? Because if you have to pay a location fee.
No, but hold on.
Board.
Whoever they signed to allow them to
release,
film, all that's
they
in the
also
release.
say the words, "Give this to Jim in classifieds."
Yeah, I understand, Jim, but whoever rented your office, your company,
I didn't know.
Signed a legal agreement.
It wasn't your company. It was that the LA Weekly?
Yeah,
and
the guy.
No, it's Jim worked for the company, but that's their office, even though you're in it with your stuff.
If you ever get a chance to see this movie, there's a scene where they're in an office and there's a bulletin board, and on the bulletin board there's something called Hip Chips, and it looks like Famous Amos cookie, but it's Hip Chips, and they were actual marijuana cookies that I used to get in a bag, and I put the bags up there, and that made it into the movie.
You know,
Hippie.
when David and I were working on the Beatle book, we got chased off I don't think we were even on the property when EMI House used to exist in Manchester Square in London, you know, where the Beatles from Please Please Me are looking over the balcony and stuff. We were taking pictures from the outside. And I don't remember if we were actually on the some guy, a guard, came out and said, we can't take pictures, stay away, get out, you know, all, like that kind of stuff. We actually used a picture in our book and never came out to anything, but
they used my brother's Pretty in Pink, the house by the railroad tracks. That was my brother's house.
That's story number 7.
Yeah. Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink. They shot that at my brother's house. Took about a week. And that's where I discovered craft services. I didn't live too far.
I was actually in a porno once.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Okay,
So
you don't want to hear about it? That's okay.
One year in my neighborhood, they were shooting Curb Your Enthusiasm. Even though they didn't come anywhere near my building, they posted everywhere. We are shooting Curb Your Enthusiasm, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, if they do that and you're caught on film, that is their legal out.
Well, that's at the last waltz. They handed out flyers, everything.
Yeah,
this concert's being filmed.
Right.
If they post that you're in an area that will be filmed, can be caught on film, that is their legal out.
Yeah. I have another brother story. They used to film a TV show once a year. They'd go into his neighborhood in Altadena, which is now burned down, and they would film there. And my brother is a musician and his wife's a musician, and they teach lessons in their house. And so they used to pay my brother and his wife to not teach lessons the week that they're filming there. So one year, my brother gets the note on his gate, we're going to be filming, and he forgot to call in time or whatever, and it's a new guy, you know, and the new guy that he's talking to goes, what's going on? And my brother goes, well, you, every year for the last 9 years, you give me $500 so that I don't play my flute. And the guy goes, are you trying to extort me? And my brother goes, well, I think this extortion started 9 years ago, didn't it? This is an ongoing thing. Next thing my brother knows, there's a knock on his door, 2 sheriffs. Did you try to extort so-and-so? My brother recognizes these cops are off duty. Even though they're in uniform, they're working for the movie studio. So my brother says to the sheriffs, he goes, did so-and-so tell you that I said he sent you here to ask me if I'm extorting him? Yes. Okay. You go back to him and you tell him that I said he should go fuck himself. Go tell him that. And they just stood in his door and they didn't know what to do. And you got a phone call, your check's ready. So that's my favorite brother story. He told the cops to fuck off.
I tell people to go fuck themselves all the time.
If you have a house location, it can be very profitable. It can be very messy and disturbing. But even just in photo shoots, not film shoots, for most good advertising shoots, we would pay to use someone's house $2,000 to $3,000 a day, for instance, for a house. And some of the 2 or 3 days, you can make $2, $4, $6, $8 grand. You have to have $1 million liability insurance, and you got to put down sheets of cardboard and things to protect the floors and all that stuff. And apparently in California, I don't know if it's still the case, you can do up to like either 10 or 30 days of renting your house out, no matter whatever you get, and it's tax-free income.
Wow. I tried when we first moved here. We were approached. Someone wanted to land an airplane on our street. There's no utility poles on our street. They're in the back. So they thought they could land an airplane, but cancel. I said, yeah, sign me up.
The scene in Midnight Cowboy with the taxi where I'm walking here, that was the guy drove in by mistake.
That was Rob and I.
Everyone, if you can hold down, hey Chris, go F yourself.
So what's the moral of the story of Rob meeting Chad Kassem this week? This is
the moral of the story. The moral of the story is Chad realized how influential I am and it's better to be on the good side of the waxed.
And
than
no
the bad.
mention of Bill Evans at all.
No, there was no reason to, because his company, the people who work for him, made it right,
Made him whole.
Good.
made it whole.
That's all.
Now I want to sell the box because the 33s are coming out.
Because Kraft is doing a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one coming out next month. Or two, maybe.
Yeah, Interplay. The one to get, though, is the twofer of Interplay, where it has stuff that wasn't released. That's a good one.
Yeah. Did you get a $400 million jet?
They say that's bullshit, huh?
Well,
No,
hey, what name is Kassem? What is that? Is it Saudi?
It's Lebanese.
It is?
Yeah. Casey Kassem. Chad Kassem.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for that jet.
He died in Gig Harbor, Washington.
Who did?
Who did?
Casey Kasem.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know that because his body traveled around the world
that's
3
true.
times.
That's true.
There's a great high-end audio store in Gig Harbor.
We talked.
Yeah.
That's where I got my my demo P8.
That's where I got my first. That's
Do
where I got my
they
first.
carry your? Do they carry Record Collector News?
Hey, guys,
I don't think I send it up there anymore.
we passed the threshold. We have to end the stream because Harry has to get back to the toilet and listen to new music.
Gain kaken off and yum, people.
Everyone, thanks for joining. Hey, Brian, if you're out there, watch the Jazz Bumps tomorrow night. Great jazz information.
Much
And,
better,
everybody.
Tune in next Tuesday morning for all the we're going to go to the Orange County Record Show on Sunday, so there should be.
And I referred to the stream.
Isn't PB Fall going to be in town?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
next week from
That's
the week.
Pasadena.
And then
Have a great
I'm doing
Memorial.
an
I think you said.
auction on Saturday. I'm going to do a preview video in a couple hours.
And it's a holiday
Thank you,
weekend
Mark.
for all you Americans.
agree.
Have a nice holiday weekend. And I want to do a plug. John was here for a while. John 6-inch. We referred to this stream. We didn't mention the name, but we talk about and we lay out the facts that Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 is a disco song. And John,
you talked about my stream, but you didn't mention my stream.
John faithfully sets out the facts. And when you do it with a British accent, you know it's true.
Up until, well, Walker ruined that for me.
All right. What a
He lays it out.
What? Hey, I'm ending the stream. It's very late that you ended it this way. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
We don't